last election, Sapak had talked about reservation, and the
Yeah,
government came out with the law. And
yeah, they did.
I was
They did.
wondering, is the organization happy with the move, or it still wants its demands, or there are other demands that those will be raised in the coming days of the election?
The organization has become inactive because of various factors, but mainly there were forces that were injected into the organization, and they ensured its destruction.
So
There
this
were
no,
forces at work that were orchestrated and brought into it, and they infiltrated the whole system that we had built.
Acha.
Yeah.
So there's no organization, there are no demands.
The organization, it continues in namesake. The organization is there, but it's inactive, as I use the word. It's become inactive.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because this 10% reservation to the economically backward among the general category doesn't
Yes, sir.
solve the problem, because the whole the movement was
Yes, sir.
brought about to protest against reservation and promotion to begin with. That was the first point. Across the board in the government services, reservation and promotion, and then the reservation regime in general across the board, we were protesting against. And the
So,
demand was reservation should be on economic basis. This is not a happy situation where you bring in reservation for the economically weaker in general and continue the rest of the reservation regime as it is, because this raises the total percentage of reservation, additional 10%. So although from the general category the economically weaker would gain, but who would suffer eventually? It is the merit holders, those
so,
who have merit, because of even lesser seats now for them.
mm,
So it has aggravated the crisis vis-a-vis the meritorious.
okay, okay. And any plans of making the organization active again?
Uh, See, it's the thought is always there. It is latent. I don't see a support base coming forward. Everything got blunted after the 10% reservation for the general category.
So,
The
and sir,
economically
you
weak.
talked about people being inserted in the organization.
Yeah, there were some who
Yeah.
were politically very ambitious, and they created a political
Acha.
party. I had founded this organization. I'm the founder president of SAPAX,
Okay.
and there was infiltration. The retired bureaucrats came in, and they were pushed into it, and they created a political party by the name of SAPAX. And I had given a representation to the Chief Election Commissioner. I had even gone to the High Court to protest against a political party with the same name. The Chief Election Commissioner, O.P. Rawat, I happen to know him very well. I regard him. We have almost 3 decades of friendship. And he said there is no law that can stop me from giving them the recognition, because no two political parties can be there with the same name. So they gave them recognition, and I said, because they are hijacking the popularity of SAPAX overnight, and the idea is not to politically contest. The idea is to have people from across board, cutting across party lines, supporting this. But the moment you form a political party, you get fragmented. Your support base gets fragmented. Suppose the BJP has a policy, Congress has a policy, and there are people who follow the BJP, there are people who follow the Congress, then they are not going to support you. Because if you form another political party, because they have their own ideology, their own, there are pro-reservationists, there would be those who would support Narendra Modi for his 10% reservation. So my protest was on this point. But the moment a political party was formed, everybody thought that we are going to come to power and we'll have our way, and that's how it happened. And yes, I remember when this political party was formed in 2018, I started traveling across the state, and I kept telling people, I addressed rallies, and I said, go for Nota and don't vote for anybody. And there was record voting for Nota that year, and the 6 lakh Nota votes were polled, and there were at least 100 seats in Madhya Pradesh where the results were, the margin was 200, 300, 100, 500. So the 6 lakh Nota played a role, and BJP lost majority in the 2018 election.
कितने सीट थे सर जो शॉर्ट मार्जिन से हारे थे बीजेपी?
Off the cuff, because I don't have the statistics, memory is failing, but there were dozens and dozens. I use the word hundreds, but it may be 70, something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, where the margin was from 100 to 500 or 1,000, even if you call it 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So the results were tilted because of the demand for Nota by the SAPAKS. I was talking of the SAPAKS party that was registered. Then SAPAKS is an organization. The full form is Samanya Pichhda Alpasankhyak Kalyan Sanstha. So that is the general, the backward, and the minorities who don't have the benefit of reservation.
Okay.
So this is a Sanstha. It's a registered society. That's the story of SAPAKS. So once SAPAKS party came up, so I withdrew. So just one person withdrew, and the whole society has collapsed because I withdrew in protest.
So are you Gwalior based or
no? I'm Bhopal based. I'm Bhopal based. And all this happened. I was the founder president. I was always chairing the meetings. Then my sister was suffering from cancer, and she was being operated in Bangalore. So I left Bhopal for about 6 months. It was during this period that these people, they infiltrated, and the process began for registering the party. And I'm even forgetting the name, Trivedi, retired IAS. And he started addressing press conferences and started calling himself as founder of SAPAKS. He had the audacity to describe himself as founder president of SAPAKS, whereas he just entered as a life member. And when I returned, I saw on television and newspaper, everywhere he was there describing himself as founder of SAPAKS, the head of SAPAKS. Yeah, without going through any election. Yeah, that's what happened. So this is how SAPAKS rose and